Very provocative headline there. Are things falling apart for Trump? I don't know, but let's look. Let's look at the evidence from the Post tonight. Multiple polls this week showed Trump hitting new lows. His approval rating has been double digits underwater in surveys from the Pew Research Center, where he's minus 19, the Economist YouGov poll, where he's minus 13, the Reuters Ipsos poll, where he's minus 11, and now Fox News, where he is also minus 11. Trump was already more unpopular at this point in his presidency than any modern president not named Donald Trump. He's now flirting with falling below where he was even at this point in his historically unpopular first term. Quote, perhaps more troubling for Trump, most of his major policies are even more unpopular than he is. That suggests his image is largely buoyed by loyalists who might not like what they are seeing from him, but they still say they support him for now. Quote, around 6 in 10 Americans have been critical of both his tariffs and Elon Musk's roughshod efforts to cut government programs and employees. In one poll this week, Americans said by a nearly 2-to-1 proportion that the Trump administration should abide by a court order to facilitate the return of a man wrongly deported to prison in El Salvador, Kilmar Abrego Garcia. That's a court order the administration is apparently flouting. Polling also suggests Americans strongly reject the Trump administration sending hundreds of men to the brutal El Salvador prison without due process, as well as Trump's efforts to deport student visa holders. Quote, in sum, it's all an increasing mess. Trump might try to muddle through, including by pressing forward on tariffs and risking a constitutional crisis by challenging the courts to actually make him abide by their orders. Quote, but with the courts asserting themselves and the public taking an increasingly dim view of what he is doing, political gravity is taking a heavy toll. It took a little less than 100 days. Yeah, well, when you put it like that way, it does sound bad. It does sound like things are falling apart for Trump. But, you know, we've also got the receipts, like we've got the actual numbers. So you don't just have to trust the characterization of them in the Washington Post tonight. We can actually just look. Let's start with the Fox News poll. Why not? Do you think the Trump administration has been competent and effective in managing the federal government? No, by a 9-point margin. Do you approve of the job Donald Trump is doing as president? No, by an 11-point margin. In the long run, do you think Donald Trump's policies will help the country? No, by an 11-point margin. So, you know, not positive on the big picture for President Trump. Well, what about the other president? Do you approve of the job Elon Musk is doing, working with DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency? Fox News poll respondents say no, resoundingly, by a 17-point margin. Do you approve of the way Donald Trump is handling the economy? No, by an 18-point margin. 18 points on the economy. Do you think Donald Trump's policies are helping the U.S. economy? No, by a 22-point margin. Do you think imposing tariffs on products imported from other countries helps the U.S. economy? No, by a 23-point margin. Do you approve of the way Trump is handling tariffs? No, 25-point margin. Do you approve of the way Trump is handling inflation? No, 26-point margin. Oh, and here's a really good one. This is, again, the Fox News poll. If President Trump thinks the Supreme Court is overstepping its constitutional authority, can he ignore the court? No, by a 49-point margin. So that's the Fox News poll. Obviously, that's all terrible news for Trump. The others are worse. Here's the Economist YouGov poll. They polled on a bunch of policy issues, asking people not just how they feel about how Trump is handling himself generally, but how he's doing on basically every issue area of policy. And the answer to every single one of those questions was basically the same answer. I mean, look, I'll just show you what I mean. Do you approve of Trump's handling of jobs and the economy? No, by a 12-point margin. Do you approve of Trump's handling of trade? No, 16-point margin. Do you approve of his handling of inflation? No. Do you approve of his handling of immigration? No. Do you approve of Trump's handling of foreign policy? No. National security? No. Education? No. Crime? How about crime? No, not crime either. Do you believe Donald Trump should bring Kilmar Abrego Garcia back to the United States? Yes. Yes, Americans say Trump should bring Mr. Abrego Garcia back to the U.S., and they say so emphatically by a 22-point margin. Quote, since President Trump took office again this year, have his actions on the economy helped or hurt the United States? Hurt by a 33-point margin. Do you think Donald Trump has the temperament to be the president? No, by a 10-point margin. Are you confident in Donald Trump's ability to deal wisely with an international crisis? No, 13-point margin. Are you satisfied with what Trump has accomplished in his first 100 days as president? No, 15-point margin. Trump has been president for about 100 days. Has he performed better or worse than you expected when he became president? Worse by a 17-point margin. Since President Trump took office, has his behavior in the United States, has his behavior in the White House helped or hurt the United States? Not just the economy, but has he hurt the nation? Hurt. Has he helped or hurt? He has hurt the nation, Americans say, by a 24-point margin. Other than that, Mr. President, how's your first 100 days been? Couple more. And this is interesting. NBC News has brand new polling on young people's views. This is people age 18 to 29. People age 18 to 29 disapprove of Trump's handling of inflation and the cost of living by a 39-point margin. People age 18 to 29 disapprove of Trump deporting people for participating in protests about Israel's actions in Gaza. They disapprove of that by a 52-point margin. And look at this. Should people in the U.S. who hold student visas, work visas, and green cards be given due process protections when facing criminal or civil charges? Should they get due process protections? 92% say yes. 92%. I don't know, maybe they might be overestimating the appeal of performatively cruel, tyrannical secret police snatch and grabs off American streets. Yeah, funny. They thought Americans would love that. Turns out Americans do not love that. Okay, one more. This is the Pew poll. And this one is put together a little different than the others in terms of the type of questions they're asking. And you'll see what I mean when I give you these questions. But again, I'll tell you the bottom line here. The answers for Trump are all the same as those ones that I just read. None of it is good for him. Just look at this. This is the Pew poll. When it comes to cuts the Trump administration is making to federal departments and agencies, would you say that the Trump administration's approach will save Americans money in the long run? No. No, by a 7-point margin. Do you approve of the Trump administration's actions to end diversity, equity, and inclusion policies in the federal government? No, by a 9-point margin. Do you approve of the cuts the administration is making to federal departments and agencies? No, by an 11-point margin. When it comes to cuts the Trump administration is making to federal departments and agencies, do you think the administration's approach will make the government run better? No, by a 15-point margin. Okay, so this is all very bad, right? Well, how about this Trump signature issue, right? The big splash he wants to make, the thing he wants to be known for, the thing he says is the most beautiful word in the English language, the thing he celebrated with something he called Liberation Day. How do we feel about that? Because that's where Donald Trump thinks he's best positioned with the American public. Do you approve of the Trump administration substantially increasing tariffs on goods imported from most countries that trade with the United States? Do you approve of Trump's tariffs? No, by a 20-point margin. He does in the Pew poll get one big yes, though, a really big one. The question is, if the U.S. Supreme Court rules that a Trump administration action is illegal, do you think the Trump administration has to follow the court's ruling and stop that action? Americans say yes, by a 79-point margin. So yeah, what was that? What was the headline in the Post tonight again? Are things falling apart for Trump? Yep. Yep. On every front. And I mean the top line takeaways in terms of how the country feels about him, it's just brutal. I mean, in that Pew poll, his overall approval disapproval number is -19. He is 19 points underwater while he is still in his first 100 days in office. He is 19 points underwater in terms of overall approval versus disapproval. That's crazy. This is the headline Pew put on its article presenting the results of its poll, which makes it seem like even they were a little shocked. Quote, Trump's job rating drops. Key policies draw majority disapproval as he nears 100 days. Outlets like CNBC are pulling results from that poll to show not just how bad things are for Trump right now as he approaches 100 days, but also how quickly he is dropping over time. Quote, Americans' confidence in President Donald Trump's ability to manage the U.S. economy has plummeted since he has regained the White House. According to a new Reuters Ipsos survey, just 37% of Americans approve of Trump's handling of the economy. That's a rating lower than at any point during his first term in office. A new Pew Research Center survey also found that less than half of U.S. adults, 45%, have confidence in Trump's ability to make good decisions about the economy. That represents a 14-point drop from the same poll in November of last year. And again, that's whether people have confidence in Trump's ability to make good decisions about the economy. He's well below 50%. He's at 45%, but that's a 14-point drop just from November. CNBC, quote, those polls follow a CNBC All-America Economic Survey released earlier this week, which also registered Trump's lowest economic approval ratings of his entire White House career. Ta-da! He is tanking. He is tanking on the stuff he wants to be known for and on everything else. And he is tanking in general, and he is tanking in the specific. And the most radical stuff he has been floating, hinting that he might potentially do, right, is the most radically unpopular stuff that they are polling.